Welcome back to another episode of Fourth and Fantasy. Week one is now under wraps, and boy, was it a joy. We're going to look at guys that perform, underperform, and who need to get the hell out the way. Here's another episode of Fourth and Fantasy. Let's get it.
Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't follow no script. I make my own lane. Got a spreadsheet mind and a red rat brain. Dynasty beats got that tape in my veins. While they drafting by names, I'm exposing their game. No cap. We study the craft like film room rats. Gyms in the fourth while they stuck in the past. It's levels to this. Dynasty keep or flex. From rookies to pros, we demanding respect. That's real. And I ain't never need clout for my clout to show. Just a mic I take and a team I grow. This ain't just picks, it's Principle G. It's fourth and fantasy where you build your legacy. We 10 toes down, yeah, we stand.
And we're back, baby. Like I said, another episode of Fourth and Fantasy on this wonderful Tuesday evening. Rocco, how you feeling, my G?
Man, feeling great, man. Um, I won some games. I lost some games. I'm fucking tired, actually. I don't feel too great. Tired, but we here recording for the people, for the fans.
We here, and you already know we're your fantasy playbook. Two more championship wins, and Rocco, where we are the home of.
We are a fantasy football podcast for Dynasty Sickos. Bye, Dynasty Sickos. But everybody's welcome.
Gotta love it. And like I said, like Rocco said, we won some games. We lost some games. One more than I lost, though. That should always be the number one thing for you. No, it doesn't matter. You're not, hopefully, like you can try, right? We can always try to win every single game. That is your goal. Well, I take that back because there's a lot of orphan teams that I took over the year previously, and shit, I'm trying to bring them back to the promised land. So there's some I turned around. There's some that still need some work. But I would say if I had to give a good estimate on percentage wise of leagues that or games that I won, I'd say it's above 60%. And remember that I'm in like 50 something leagues. So yeah, it was a good result for me. But and then a few heartbreaks. We'll get more into it, but Mark Andrews, please count your days because you definitely all I needed was 4 points to win in a $50 league, and you couldn't even get me that. But we will get more into the nitty gritty and the lows of the tight end group from week one. But nevertheless, let's jump in for to a couple of these performances that came from week one, which actually was pretty surprising, Rocco. Some guys actually showed up. Some guys just didn't come out. It felt like they just stayed in the locker room. Maybe you just needed another week, but it told me that you can't get too high. Like there's a lot of people very much overreacting to the performances in week one like it wasn't the first game of the season. This is my recommendation to anybody, any season of week one. Don't get too high, don't get too low. All right. Yes, the shit low. Some there's some situations where you should panic. Well, not want to say panic, but an eyebrow should be raised a little bit. But it's too soon to start. If you're already like, yo, I need to start rebuilding off of week one, you probably wasn't built for the long haul in the first place, and you need to go back to redraft. It's not going to
You
be
ain't
a
built for this.
yeah. You're not built for this, my G. So, and when we're looking at these quarterback finishes, man, did we get a fun one? Which I believe was Sunday night with the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson duking it out, which gave Josh Allen the QB1 of the week, where he finished with 38.5 fantasy points, 394 passing yards, two passing touchdowns, 30 rushing yards and two rushing touchdowns. This is why you select him 101. This is why Josh Allen, in fantasy purposes, is and I will even go out on a limb and say in real time, in real life, Josh Allen is the best quarterback currently right now in the NFL. Rocco, how are you feeling about the performance from Josh Allen and the overall game, if you caught it?
Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback in the league, bar none. Derrick Henry blew that game. The coaching staff blew that game by going conservative in the last drive when you seen Josh Allen was gaining steam, and everybody in the world knew that the Ravens were going to lose that game if they punted back to them. So why didn't you go for it? Why'd you punt the ball? Why'd you go conservative at the end? But yeah, Derrick Henry lost that game with the fumble. That team had that game well in the bag. Derrick Henry fumbled, and that was that. That was that. You can't give that man too many chances. But Lamar Jackson was surgical all night, um, and that was just a weird game to lose. But I'm not overreacting off of game one, week one. I mean, if you thought Josh Allen was the top guy in the league coming into the season, then I'm sure your opinion's not changed. If you're like me and you have Lamar Jackson number one, my opinion's not changed. So it's not going to change off of that 1 week.
Yep, felt that. And with
Especially with the Ravens murdering that team all night. Like it wasn't anything that Lamar Jackson did to lose that game. As great as King Henry was, that and it just weird shit. Like you barely ever see King Henry fumble. Like
no,
I'm sure you can count on one hand the times he's fumbled in the last couple of years. So that's probably not going to happen again. So yeah, it's just a weird fucking game, but it's not going to change my opinion either way. Off of game one, amazing game one. You know that could be the game of the year in game one, but still game one.
yeah, with Josh Allen, I know a lot of people said this on Twitter where they before that game they were like 80%, 70% likely to win win the week until Josh Allen stepped into the field and they end up losing that one. Thought that was pretty hilarious. There was a couple people I saw in the Discord that said that. I also got Josh Allen on one game. So
I got Josh Allen.
it happens, man. You feel like you like you had a pretty good day, and shit. Honestly, you can't even be mad at those games. It happens. If you all can just throw your hands up and be like, "Damn, what was I supposed to do?" Like,
Yeah,
there's
bro,
a
puts a 50, 40, 50 burger on you, and then you just chalk that one up.
like how you don't expect a guy to go in and one get two rushing touchdowns, get two passing touchdowns, and then also throw for 400 passing yards. Like you're not throwing that on your bingo card to get swept up like that. Now they play the New York Jets in week two. Do you expect the same type of? All I'm gonna say the same type of performance because I feel like Baltimore lately's defense has been lackluster. For with the amount of guys actually they have on that field is pretty surprising that they keep getting these high totals put up on them like that. But week two against the Jets, how do you feel about Josh Allen?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the defense. It's just quarterbacks when, elite, super elite quarterbacks when put in that position are going to just put up numbers. So it was a shootout environment. Um, I think I'd be more worried about the Bills defense because the Ravens just did basically whatever they wanted to on that team all night. So yeah, both of those teams have some shit they need to clean up.
All right. No. Looking at I'm gonna take my one of my first victory laps of this season, and I hope he continues this. He actually would have been QB1 if it wasn't for Josh Allen going full nuts on Sunday night. And I'm talking about Mr. Justin Fields himself, who finished as QB2 with 29.5 fantasy points, 72.7% completion percentage rate, 20 and then he had 218 passing yards, one passing touchdown, 48 rushing yards and two rushing touchdowns. He looked very much composed. I liked what I saw from him as a passer. I think and what I hyped about him all basically off season is that he wasn't my dark horse to finish as a QB1 this season. And I was saying it all off season that he was going to be a top five quarterback easily. He showed why I was saying that stuff. And he and Garrett Wilson looked like they were very much on chemistry throughout the game. I'm looking for them to have somebody else step up because it seemed like they really only had Garrett Wilson. Josh Reynolds had a few catches in there. Mason Taylor had a catch towards the end, but I feel like they need one more guy to step up in that passing offense, and they released Malachi Corley because they were just done with him. So I'm looking for one guy to step up for Justin Fields. But man, did he put on a show against his former team, the Pittsburgh Steelers? Honestly, I felt like he should have came out of that game victorious. You don't, and I say this all the time, where if you put up 30 points, you did all that you can to get your team a win. There's no reason why you score 30 points and you lose that game. Defensively, I want to see more, especially from a Aaron Glenn led defense. You would hope you got a little bit better results, but and then they were also playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who it's not like they had a smash mouth offense. So you thought they were going to at least play a little bit better. But Justin Fields is very much up. I love, love, love seeing him what he did Sunday. Could you speak a little bit about what you saw from Justin Fields, Rocco?
Yeah, he looked great. I don't think there's anybody in that building is going to emerge as the number two option because they all suck. Like they're really bad. So, there's still a little worry about if somebody could lock up Garrett Wilson, what the rest of that offense will do. But I mean, he looked fast. He looked athletic. He looked like the most athletic guy on the field. And what's funny is like who called that being a shootout when the day started. Like I feel like most people would have took the under, but I would guess without looking that's probably the highest score on the slate. Uh, 66 points. But yeah, I have no faith in any of those secondary and tertiary receivers. I mean, they should trade for somebody. I think that would help round out that offense. Um, but what I loved mostly, and allow me to victory lap a little bit. I had some misses, and so far the Justin Fields fade looks like a miss, but it's a long season. But Brees Hall looked all the way back, and he looked like he was in 2023 form. And if anybody's going to be the second most targeted guy on that team, it's going to be Brees Hall, and he was looking great on the ground. He was making stuff happen in the air, and people that faded him, you probably wish you hadn't at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that were just well, just fading the Jets players in general. But I am very
5.6 yards a carry.
yeah, man.
He's
He
back.
looked good. He looked like his once
And,
again it takes time to come back from injuries,
mhm.
which
and when
people
we
like
talk,
to run.
oh, my bad.
Go
And when we talked about Justin Fields opening up those big holes for Brees Hall when he's got that mesh concept and he's got that option and his linebackers start following Fields and those wide ass open holes open up for Brees. It's it's he's gonna eat a lot on those type of plays.
Justin, he played he in week two he plays the Buffalo Bills, who just got done playing Lamar Jackson, another mobile quarterback,
Hmm.
to go have to play Justin Fields. Which, if I'm having to rank guys, I would put Justin Fields may, probably right below Lamar Jackson when it comes to, or maybe third. I might be put actually I take that. I would put definitely have him behind Lamar Jackson when it comes to running quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels will go third for me there, but week two against Buffalo, do you see some success for our guy Justin Fields to continue?
It's gonna be an interesting matchup because Buffalo couldn't do anything with Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson's a little bit different of a runner. Like they're like not all running quarterbacks are built the same. Like Justin Fields is just like um, he's just so athletic and big, and he's just like kind of just a whirlwind and hard to corral in the open field. And Lamar Jackson's just so kind of surgical with it, and he picks his spots like so well. He does have that top end speed too, but it's more of a I don't want to down Justin Fields, but it's more of like a cerebral approach to running and being a running quarterback and having that well-rounded game, and having the passing weapons. Like they have just some great weapons in the passing game there in Baltimore. So it'll be an interesting chess match because I think teams are going to have to try to see how they can limit Garrett Wilson and force Justin Fields to utilize some of those secondary receivers. You know, force him to figure out how to get a Reynolds involved, figure out how to get Mason Taylor if he's the guy involved. Tyler Johnson's coming out of his hidey hole and making an appearance. I know a lot of guys liked him coming out, so it'd be interesting to see if the Bills can take something away from the Jets and see how the Jets counter. That's the fun thing to see in season. Like the teams, in the coming weeks make adjustments to what we've seen in week one. Um, but will I don't know. Based on what I saw on Sunday, I would say no. I think we can see another shootout type performance, but you just never know. Sometimes those primetime games, they're either a sludge or they can, be what we saw, for the most part this weekend. But sometimes those earlier games, you just really don't know what you're going to get. Um, but I guess I'm saying all that to say that I would probably wager on it being a higher scoring game, and if it is, don't let Justin Fields have another great game against the Bills. Man, his rocket ship is going to be moonbound.
Mm. And before we move to the next quarterback, which I know you will be joyous to talk about, I will fight you back on a little bit on the cerebral part. I think where Lamar, if early in his career he was very much a takeoff type of guy, now he has more weapons to throw to, whereas Justin Fields doesn't. So, and Justin Fields only ran the ball 8 times, and 6 out of those were designed. So it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like it was just running just to run. Um, with Lamar Jackson, he has a
Think
bit
it's
more.
more of an experience thing.
Yeah, it's more. I wouldn't even say that. I think just Lamar Jackson. He came into the league being called a running back, so he wanted
Mm-hmm.
to prove to everybody that he is very much a passer. So I think that's still in his head. Like I still like. I'm a quarterback. I want to be able to get the ball to my
Mm-hmm.
guys. So honestly, I feel like Lamar Jackson has more off scripted runs than actually Justin Fields does when it comes to like
Yeah,
that.
I can agree with that.
Lamar Jackson had to. There was a clip where number 77 on the Baltimore Ravens was literally just spinning around in circles. Lamar on that one long scramble, Lamar had 77 was literally like trying to figure out like who to block.
You're at
But
the Bills linebacker, or
no, the Ravens 77 Ravens lineman.
like 7-7 offensive lineman. That's
Mhm.
like a guard or something.
Yeah, it was hilarious. He didn't know what to do out there, but uh, I week two. Hopefully, Justin Fields can keep that going. Like I said, he would have been QB1 if it wasn't for Josh Allen going complete alien on the Baltimore Ravens asses. So,
I
but the
thought
guy that
Herbert
I
was the QB one beforehand.
yeah, the guy I did want to speak about who honestly, if you had this on your bingo card, I would say you're a fucking liar. But Daniel Jones was QB3 in week one with 29.5 fantasy points, 75.9% completion rate, 272 passing yards, one passing touchdown, 26 rushing yards, and two rushing touchdowns against the Miami Dolphins. And once again, if you had that on your bingo card, you're a liar, bud. All right, because I sure the hell did not. Who had him looking that well? I thought that he would look slightly better than Anthony Richardson. And I know the Colts haven't had a quarterback throwing over 60% and gotten there in a little hot minute. But I I'm not saying I'm buying into Daniel Jones because I feel like I would also have to be on crack to say so. But
Yeah,
Daniel Jones, I feel like shut a few people up where
not I.
I would also have to see the rest of the. I don't want to. Once again, don't get too high, don't get too low. We had to see more of Daniel Jones. I'm not still. I had to see more. He did look serviceable though. He did look like an NFL quarterback. The offense was moving. They got to the point where they were like, "We took," and he also took a hit. So that was one of the reasons why. More of the reasons why they kept him out because they were blowing the Miami Dolphins out. But they were like, "We got so much of a lead. We don't even need to throw Jonathan Taylor back out there." The Miami Dolphins should be ashamed of their fucking selves this week. Y'all need to go back to the game plan, go back to the playbook, and figure out why the fuck Daniel Jones scored 3 touchdowns on y'all and almost threw for 300 yards. But it was a beautiful sight because my Tyler Warren shares were eating all that shit up. Shout out to Daniel Jones. I didn't see you finishing against QB3 in week one, but hey, make us believers this season. I still won't be a believer, even if you do it, but nevertheless, keep going, G. What do you have to say about Daniel Jones from week one, Rocco?
Man, I I think this has more to do with the Miami Dolphins just being a shit show of a franchise, and that quarterback. I mean, that coach and probably that quarterback are not long for that franchise. I mean, you look at the press conference, and Mike McDaniel's just looks like shell shocked, and his genius offense is just kind of falling apart. Tua looks like a fucking the Mickiest Mouse of Mickey Mouse quarterbacks. I mean, like people are saying he looks like he had a concussion before the season even started, and people were saying yeah he's just in midseason form. Yeah, I mean I think you know the brain has left his building, and he's just it's just not happening for him anymore. And they set up Daniel Jones in a lot of short fields, and he took advantage of it. So, I give him credit. I think it would also help, if Anthony Richardson was in, if Anthony Richardson would have gotten, to play with a easy button in the Tyler Warren in the middle of the field. It would have helped if, Anthony Richardson got a fully healthy Michael Pittman, who looked fully
Yep,
healthy. I mean, he had a long
yep.
touchdown, and I don't think I've seen him do that much at all in his entire career. He's mostly been a short and intermediate type of guy working in those quadrants of the field. You don't see him go deep very often, but you saw him go deep on Sunday, so that makes me feel like maybe he's a little bit past those back issues that plagued him
Mm.
last year. Um, but yeah, I mean, that game got ugly fast, and I feel like Daniel Jones is a bit of a front runner. Like things were going good, he was able to get some short touchdowns, which he fucking totally vultured my guy, fucking Jonathan Taylor. Like fuck that dude. Like how you gonna take JT's fucking touchdowns away from him so you could fucking prop up your fucking stat line? Nobody fucking started you, asshole.
Yeah, I
Fuck
didn't
you.
start. I have Daniel Jones, and I did not start him. So,
Nobody did. It's
in a few spots,
provocative.
I did not start Daniel Jones. And you're speaking on
You had to be in a bad spot to start Daniel Jones on
speaking on
Sunday.
Tua. Let's get to our buy sells of the QB spots. And my buys from week one, I have Justin Fields because of as many people were out on him. I feel like now the price don't going up, the brick don't going up. Yesterday's price is not today's price, so you might not be able to get him now. But if you can, it's not going to cost you no simple. I here
You're too late on the
I
party
sent somebody a early second for Justin Fields. And that's it. Just an early second for maybe about a month or two
this
ago.
week. Oh, okay.
And beautiful time. Now, yeah, I'm not getting that now. You're not getting no. You're not sending just a second for Justin Fields now, unless that person's on crack once again. This and if you haven't got the message, this episode is brought to you by methamphetamine. Let me. Uh,
That messed up. We got a new sponsor. It's
it's
called
called meth.
Meth. Meth
Meth,
Addicts. We have broken all the way bad.
drugs. Now, On my cell, to finish the buys, Justin Fields, Geno Smith, who was QB 15, actually, and I won't say it was a surprise because Rocco has spoken on plenty of episodes at this point of he is a solid QB2 who can sprinkle in you some QB1 type weeks. Now, Brock Bowers is hurt. We will get on that later when we talk about some injuries, but can Geno Smith keep the train rolling? I like what I saw from Geno Smith. He's a good buy for me right now. And then I will leave it my buys with Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Four passing touchdown himself, who finished QB7 in week one. And that almost made me throw up in my mouth. I'm not even gonna lie to you. After all the shit that we talk, and I'm gonna keep talking it. Nevertheless, just because you have a good week, don't mean I'm gonna stop. But good job, old man Aaron Rodgers, for showing out your old New York Jets team. Go ahead, Rocco.
Fuck that dude. Fuck that dude. Go ahead.
Do you have
That's
who are
all I
your
had to say.
buys from the week one?
I go at it a little bit differently when I say buy or sell because when guys blow up, that's not the right time to buy because you're going to be paying the farm for guys. Guys, I'm looking at are guys that underperformed in week one. Give me a Bo Nix who looked downright atrocious week one. I think he played a resurgent Titans defense. Um, Give me a CJ Stroud
I don't like
who
none of them boys.
looks.
Except for Bo.
I
Except for
love
Bo.
those
Obviously, we
guys.
like Bo, but CJ.
By Dak Prescott, who didn't have a big counting stat game, but he looked really really good. It just Javante Williams kind of vultured a couple touchdowns and Sell. You know who the fuck I'm talking about. You have your moment. Like Eminem said, this is your one chance, your one opportunity. Do not miss your chance to blow. Daniel Jones, all right, the fuck out the door because he ain't never gonna have a game as good as he had on Sunday. That was his career game. It's all downhill from there. Get him the fuck out of your QB room.
You heard it.
Profit.
Yeah, you heard it from Rocco here first. And I would this actually that's not a bad that's not bad advice because if he let's say week one was his highlight, week one was his Super Bowl. Right now, you can probably get a second for Daniel Jones, which we couldn't have said that a few months ago or a few weeks ago. So take advantage of the moment. My cells,
You might be able to get multiple
right, two
seconds.
seconds. So or a second or the third. You can get something. So this would be the time. My cell list, Jared Goff, even though I wasn't the highest on him to begin with, but Jared Goff finished as QB 21. I'm not. And we got to see. Maybe he needs another week without Ben Johnson, and but they'll get to swing of things. But it didn't look good for that Detroit Lions offense. My second cell, which Rocco spoke on, Tua, get the hell out of here, bro. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
You you talking about a guy you can't sell. You haven't been
You
able to
can't.
sell him for
You
like 2 years.
can't. You
This is who you selling it to? Like nobody is buying what you selling with
uh,
Tua. They gonna say
when I say
hold them
cells, like
or
it's
drop
more
them.
of these are guys that I'm not very high on anymore going forward. Yeah. So
Gotcha,
like
gotcha.
you can try to sell to it.
I thought you was actually talking about like selling
Oh
in
no, like you
leagues.
can try to
That's
sell
why
to it. Is it going to work? It's
I've
not
tried. It
at
ain't
the moment.
happening. I'm stuck with the 1-2 I
You got to
got. I'm
ride with
stuck.
it, and then
I'm
my
riding
last
with them.
one, Russell Wilson, who has already been, it seemed like, put on a notice that he could be benched earlier than later. I think I just saw something earlier today where he is going to be the starter week two. We're going to see, and I was one of those people who say he's not going to make it past week five. So we're gonna, I'm gonna keep everybody. I have receipts. Who someone said he's gonna make it at least 10 games. Yeah, you got you out of your fucking mind. But yeah,
Russell
someone said he will
Wilson.
make it 10 games into the season. You're out
That take was brought to you
by
by drugs.
drugs, methamphetamines, all that, uh,
Yeah, a lot of drugs in these
all
streets
that,
tonight.
man. No, these running backs, which I feel like we're back in 2023, 2022 type shit. Cause some of these guys really showed out. But Mr. King Henry himself, since we already talked about Lamar and we talked about Derrick Henry's fumble, that was one of the reasons why they lost the game. I don't think it was the only one, but it did help. That if he didn't fumble, it definitely would have made it a lot harder. But he finished as RB1, 29.2 fantasy points, 18 rushes, 169 rushing yards, two tutties, 9.4 yards per carry, and then one catch to go with 13 yards on that. He plays Cleveland week 2. Derrick Henry's a monster. He's an alien. He already had 100 yards off of 4 carries. Like he was whooping ass. I think they went off. Honestly, he only had 18 rushes. Derrick Henry should have finished with a 22, 23, something like that, to where I think they went against the jelly, against the pivot, but they were having fun with Zay Flowers and passing that thing. So I understand why they were doing it. But Derrick Henry, I think they should have leaned a little bit more on. Yes, the fumble did happen, but you were supposed to run that thing out instead of keep passing it. Bijan Robinson had once again. He was our dark horse for RB1 in 2025. It wasn't sexy on the ground, but what he made up for was receiving. Had 100 yards receiving. Is this motherfucking Marshall Falk? What are we? This is going crazy. We have Marshall Falk in Atlanta. Gotta be beautiful. A bigger Marshall Falk in Atlanta, and he had 24.4 fantasy points, RB2, 7 targets, 6 catches, 1 TD. He faces the Minnesota Vikings, who did a good job of beating up on DeAndre Swift and the Chicago Bears offensive line. And I won't throw that all the way on DeAndre Swift. It just felt like they were having trouble running the ball in general. Passing wise, it seemed decently. They were able to get their running backs in the games, but it looked like Minnesota was doing a good job on that. And if you panic sold on Christian McCaffrey after the calf news, I know you're fucked up right now because he finishes RB3, 23.3 fantasy points, 10 targets, 9 catches, 73 receiving yards to go with 69 rushing yards. He had himself a day, even though the overall Seahawks offense didn't look that great. He could be even more relied upon due to injuries that we're going to be talking about later in the show. Some more guys to talk about quickly. James Cook had himself a day against the Baltimore Ravens. Once again, not fairly much doing on the ground, but in that passing game, yes. And that's something that I will speak on a little bit. But Travis Etienne, once again, this is why I said it felt like we were in 2003, 2022 type shit. Because what the fuck? Travis Etienne had 143 rushing yards. Stop playing with me. Stop. Who had that on the
Yeah, that was always the most likely thing to happen though. Like he's the number one running back. It wasn't Bigsby who they fucking shipped out on his ass. I know a lot of guys in Discord are Bigsby fans, but I mean he's a first and second down running back that can't catch the ball. So they sent him out on his ass, and they're going to count on Travis Etienne. And what's crazy is it looks like LaQuint Allen has jumped Tootin because he's a really good pass catching back, and I saw him in the preseason game in New Orleans, and that guy's pretty nice. He's a sneaky ad off the waiver
agree.
wire.
I won't say I'm not reading much into that report where he's jumped ahead of Tootin. I don't see that just because.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm going off a report. I'm just going off of he was in the game early on
Mhm.
third downs, so that's where I think he's going to get that role. And I think Tootin is neat. The problem with Tootin is he fumbles, so I think that's what holds him back right now. So he's going to have to earn that trust before he gets more of a
Yeah,
role
I'm gonna have to
there.
still go with Tootin over that one, and I get it that Allen was in there, but Tootin is their best one and is their best zone runner. I like the one where he pressed the hole on the offensive line, cut to the right, and got through it. Showed bounce, showed explosion. Yes, he and with Allen, he is the more better receiver, and I could see Allen used in that like slot receiver type role in the slot type.
Mhm.
Uh, More so, he'll get more opportunity to be used as like a weapon. I think Tootin still has him. I personally still have Tootin over him. Uh, you get one draft capital. That's very much a play into it. One's a fourth rounder. One's a seventh rounder, and then the overall, I guess, the game scheme of it. And I think with ETN and the only thing, and you kind of spoke on it, Tank Bisbee, only thing he did better than, and I will say, quote, quote, better than Travis Etienne was he was a slightly better inside runner. Everything else, Etienne does better than Tank Bisbee. I
Mhm.
think that Tootin is a better outside runner than Tank Bigsby, and slightly a better catcher. He did catch the ball a fair amount at Virginia Tech. We will see how the rest of his carries go, or the rest of how his role progresses on with the season. But I don't
Mhm.
believe that they shipped off Tank because of. Oh, actually, there's also they have a guy on their practice squad as well, Jaquidian Jackson from Arkansas.
Yeah. I think they shipped off Bigsby because his contract was coming up and they like the rookies that they have in house. And, you know, why have a guy that's kind of duplicated already when ETN is your bell cow and you have rookies that you like that you can kind of
Mhm.
work in
It was
there.
up. It was definitely up. And then if we're still keeping on the running backs wise, I have some underrated performers that you should also keep in mind out there. And I've been harping about them all off season because once again, I was like, people are cutting this guy out too soon. He's young still, and he was still recovering from injury. And who am I talking about? Javante Williams, who finished RB5 with 20.4 fantasy points, and to go along with two tutties, 54 rushing yards against the Philadelphia Eagles. He played 77% of the snaps. I've said it quite a bit that he was Dallas Cowboys RB1, and they were going to use him as so. Stephen Jones spoke about him a lot. I think he is a candidate to have double digit rushing touchdowns this year if they don't go out before the trade deadline and trade for a running back, which we I think that's the lowest of our priorities at the moment. But I could see it
Hmm.
if I would like to see more of Jadon Blue because he wasn't active, but just because of who we were playing with, we wanted to keep it physical. But I would like to see him get more burn over Miles Sanders. I actually had a viral tweet. Sorry, Miles, if you ever saw that, but my shit was. Yeah, I ain't mean to shit on you, my G, but yeah, man, you can't get caught by no motherfucker.
I mean, you kind of did mean to shit on him when you did a tweet about
You're
him
right.
getting
Like
caught by a by a 4-7 guy, 4-8
the,
guy.
the
What
four
was
six
it?
zone, he had me in my
And,
field.
and you got to give Zach Bond a little bit of credit. He's really worked on his his physique and his craft since he's been since he left New Orleans. I would say so. I don't think he's running a true 4.8 anymore, and he was running 20 miles per hour on the gun. But when you're a guy that's kind of your game is built around speed, you don't let anybody catch you from
And
behind,
Miles,
much less a fucking
yeah, and Miles
linebacker.
Sanders never really had great speed. He had good speed, but it also just shows he also that injuries can sap somebody's long speed down the line. Another underrated performer, Dylan Sampson. Even though there's news that Quinshawn Judkins could be back week 2 for the Cleveland Browns. And once again, I want to speak a little bit on what I saw, or a pattern that I saw from the running backs in week 1. You don't have to kill it on the ground to be in that top 5 for running backs. There were multiple shitty rushing performances from the top guys in the week, but they made up for it in the passing game. That was the saving grace for a lot of folks. It's not like Christian McCaffrey killed it on the ground, but the man had 10 targets. It's not like Bijan killed it on the ground, but the man had 7 targets, 100 rushing yard, 100 receiving yards. It's not like Dylan Sampson killed it on the ground with only 29 rushing yards, but he had 8 targets, 8 catches, 64 receiving yards. So, if a running back can be used in the passing game appropriately, they can still in the PPR, definitely in the PPR league, or they can still have value for you, which I was really cool to see.
But yeah, well, yeah, pass catching backs are generally more valuable than elite running backs because you know catch is worth 1 point. And there's a funny Ian Hartitz always has these funny clips of a running back like running through like five people and juking out like people out of the backfield, spinning
Yeah.
off guys, and just doing crazy shit to get
Mm.
5 yards. And then he has another clip of like a receiver catching the ball and falling down at the line of scrimmage, and it's like, all right, running back got zero point 0.5 points, and the guy that fell down got 1 point. So yeah, guys that can catch the ball are just way more valuable in general than just guys that rush. Even elite rushers, they're really the only guys that don't really pass the ball, that don't catch the ball much, that are still like near the top are guys like Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor. Pretty much all the other guys are pass catchers. CMC, Gibbs,
Mhm.
Bijan, all of those
Mhm.
guys, are elite pass catchers. Even an Alvin Kamara who's holding on to a lot of value late in his career because he's an elite pass catcher.
I think he's the poster child for that, for those type of guys where you don't have to have and I won't. That's not no gripe against Alvin Kamara because he has over, I believe now, 10,000 scrimmage yards, but and he almost has almost 100, 100 TDs in general, receiving and rushing. So it,
That's the reason why I have zero interest in Tank's
yeah.
Bigsby.
So is
Zero
exactly why you
interest.
saw him traded to the Philadelphia Eagles that May. So, if we're talking about his a little bit about his ongoing fantasy value for Tank Bisbee, I'm probably out at this point. And not to say I'm out, unless Saquon Barkley gets hurt, then he's now the RB1.
I was ne- I was never in, so there's nothing
Yeah, yeah, I
to
was
be
never
out
in.
on.
So yeah,
You can't get out when you are never
Rocco hit it
in.
right on the head. And before I get into my buys and sells, I just want to quickly talk about Mr. Bill Ja'Cory Krusky Merritt, who finished RB17, still good. 14.2 fantasy points, 10 rushes, 82 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. I would like to see him use more in the passing, but they also have Austin Eckler, so I don't see that happening. But it looks like, just looking at the overall roles, he's going to be the runner. Austin Eckler is going to be the pass catching back, which how it should be. How should the viewers be looking at JCM? Where there was some news where Chris Rodriguez could get the start over him. He was a healthy scratch. I think JCM is up now. It's charts. Chart is pointing upward for me.
Yeah, I mean the moment we got the notification that Chris Rodriguez was inactive, like just the, I mean just that was the signal that we needed that JCM is the guy. And Austin Eckler is definitely going to have a role, a pass catching role there. I don't think that goes away, but it just seems like to me, it's only going to go up for Bill Krosky Merritt, because the only guy that I thought may hold him, may take some of that work from on the ground from him would be a Chris Rodriguez. But when he was, not even part of the game plan in week one, that just shows you how much confidence they had in Bill. So, the fact that he's a lowly drafted guy, I think he was drafted in the same round as LaQuinn Allen, just to get an idea of where this guy was drafted. For him to be basically the RB1 in week 1. I mean, it's a fucking rocket ship that you probably should have got in on. I got him in third and fourth round rookie drafts, and I kind of faded when he was going for seconds a few weeks ago. I'm feeling like maybe that was a mistake. Maybe seconds is going to be wind up being cheap for that guy.
I'm with that, man. It's you know, and I felt kind of great about selecting him. I think he has Tyrone Tracy type value of where you selected him in drafts. A lot of people got him off waivers. A lot of us got him in the fourth round. Unless you are a psycho and you do fifth round, 5 round, 6 round rookie drafts, you need to be locked up. Put your ass
Absolutely not.
underneath the jail.
Only only an
Yeah.
IDP where there's more people
Throw
coming
your
off the
ass on the
board.
cell block because ain't no way. I hate that shit. Anything over 4 rounds of rookie, I feel like you need to be locked up. That's just my personal opinion. Now, my buys, Javante Williams, who finishes RB5, as I said, and Travis Etienne. Now, hear this. You might be telling yourself, I wouldn't give somebody more than a second. And you know what? Honcho fucking agrees with you. And you know what? Honcho did that shit today. And Honcho got told to go to hell. So y'all do with that information as you will. Rocco, would you send a second for Travis Etienne? And would you
Yeah,
get told?
I need you might, but if I decided that I wanted to get at Travis Etienne, I would just send blanket offers, and somebody would take my second. Probably most wouldn't, but somebody would.
Would you go on the length of sending if you knew that you were going to have a late first? And I'm talking about 10 through 12. Would you send that first?
No,
He said, I can't do it.
no,
He said, I can't do it.
I'm not there yet.
2 seconds.
Like like our guy Ben McCown with Dynasty Gambit. Um, he preaches to hold those first as long as you can because there'll be other buying opportunities later. And when people start selling, you generally get a better deal. Um, it just depends on who's there, but not for ETN. And I'm not sending 2 seconds for him either. My limit is probably a second and a third.
Mhm.
I think I might do that, but I'm
You're
probably
just, gonna, you're
holding
just gonna have to
on two
miss.
seconds.
You're just gonna have to be one of those people that miss out because you can't do it. Yeah, I felt that.
I'm fine with that.
He said, "Yeah, I'm 100%. If somebody was like, how about if someone countered for like a first and a second, yeah, John, we ain't never getting the trade done for the rest of the season, Jake, because I already know you about fucked up in the head. No, my cells, and I feel like you would agree on this one. Jerome Ford, he is a cell.
Oh, man, I
He,
look bad on that one.
he's. I'm sorry.
Man, that
He
dude got fucking nuked in like the first quarter of the first game, man. The only thing that can happen for that guy is he needs to get traded somewhere where somebody has an injury.
Jerome Ford is. They were using Raheem Sanders before they was using Jerome Ford. That should tell you. And they just picked him up off their practice squad from the Chargers. And they were
Hmm.
like, and Jerome Ford been with the team for the last several years. And I feel like what put the nail on the coffin for Jerome was how much, because he was their pass catching guy, how much they used Sampson in the passing game and how well he looked. Yeah, man, throw that boy Jerome Ford in the backwood. It's a wrap.
Yeah, yeah, he's in the backwood. I'm burning him with the midnight fire right now.
And then my other sell would be Isaiah Pacheco. I am. I was not even on Isaiah Pacheco. I was telling you sell Isaiah Pacheco before the fucking season started. Now the offense is even. Now Jalen Royals could come back week 2, so they'll get some speed back, but he's still dealing with a little knee. I just don't like the Kansas City Chiefs offense is, and I hate it because it's Andy Reid, it's Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT, if you will, the modern GOAT. I just don't like that Kansas City offense right now. It's very up and down. You don't know what you're going to get from it. Would you agree with like how are you feeling about Isaiah Pacheco's value going forward? Do you like him?
No, no,
He
I
said,
don't like him at all.
no.
He should have been replaced by now. I don't know why they still fucking around with Kareem Hunt, Brashard Smith. Brashard Smith is not really. He doesn't really profile as a guy that can handle the load.
Mhm.
So I guess they're stuck with Pacheco, and it'll be better days, coming up. The Chargers are decent defense, but I'm not gonna buy him. I don't see I don't see the upside in buying him because people that have him, still remember the good days.
Yeah, there's no ROI on that.
There's gonna be there's gonna be more bad if there's more bad games ahead. Maybe then you buy, but it starts to get in this. It starts to get in those scary hours where he might just be that guy at this point. He had a really bad injury last year and he came back early, and he just might not be that same guy anymore.
Hey man, I can definitely get behind you on that one, big dog. Now, if we're looking at the tight end spot, and I'm gonna say another guy that might make you a little sick to your stomach, make you throw up. But hey, this might be the episode that does it. Mr. Juwan Jennings, come on down as he finished tight end one of
Who's Jawan Jennings? He plays tight end now.
oh shit, you right. Jawan Johnson. Shit, fucked up. That's how much I don't really know this motherfucking name like that, dog. That's how much. And
Fucking Jawan Johnson.
and the funny thing is,
I know him as Jawan Johnson's contract.
I only have him one of my leagues, which kind of what was funny as fuck. It's the league that is 4 point tight end premium at that, right? And yeah, I know. Nevertheless, it's either three to four. It's either three or four
Fucking
tight
Mickey
end
Mouse
premium.
ass rules. Who came up with that shit?
Hey, it makes shit kind of crazy though. And Jawan Jennings, I picked him up off a waiver. Somebody dropped him. I know you're sick as fuck. Whoever's watching this, I'm pointing at your bitch ass. Y'all know you're upset because I picked him up. I you know how money I spent on waivers for him because I didn't have a tight end, so I had to go crazy with him. I had to spend $45 because I didn't have a tight end. And if you're thinking about tight end premium as 3 to 4 points, you're gonna need one. So I was like, I'm gonna put all my money into Juwan Jennings. Never did I have on my
Jawan
bingo card.
Johnson.
Oh my fucking Jesus. Jawan, and that's I'm sorry, Jawan Johnson. I keep fucking up your name. That's how much
I
I
got
didn't
so much. I got so much Jawan Johnson because people drop him, but they don't realize that he's a starting tight end in the league. And I mean, he a lot of times when those wide receivers get hurt, he's like the last guy left there. So I could see him getting targets in a tight end premium where you don't need a lot to get points, and you might not have depth at the tight end position. I just pick him up because in a lot of leagues there's just trash
yeah,
all in the waiver wires. Like until like we get games and like guys emerge out of nowhere, like he was still available in like really deep competitive leagues. So I
yeah.
would just pick him up and stash him. But the thing about Jawan Johnson and why he's always fucking Jawan fucking Johnson to me, this asshole fucking dropped
Oh
a
my
game
god.
tying touchdown
Rattler threw
because
a
he
dime.
is he is just like even in his greatest moments, his best game of his life, a game he might not ever have again. He dropped the game tying touchdown.
A dime, dog. A dime. Like Spencer couldn't
Yeah,
put it any better.
Rattler would have looked really good if he would have caught that one. Then we might be cooking with gas. Spencer Rattler might survive the 2026 draft, but Jawan Johnson kept
Like,
us on track for Nussmeyer. Thank you, Jawan.
I was watching that game. I was
I
very much watching that game at the
was
time.
watching that game.
They were battling back. Y'all was surging down the field. I'm like, all right, Rattler, put together a good sequence. Let's see what y'all do. This man puts it high and tight, right in the bed muffin. There's nothing better. And this man, Juwan Johnson, said, "Tuh." Yeah, but nevertheless, he finished with 11 targets, 8 catches, 76 receiving yards, and no touchdowns, but 15.6 fantasy points in week one, nudging out Bowers, Go Dogs, 15.3 for tight end two. Tyler Warren was tight end three with a 9 targets, 7 receptions, 76 receiving yards, and one no touchdowns, but he did have a catch over 20 yards. He had 14.9 fantasy points. And one thing I did want to say about Juwan Johnson, if you didn't know, Rocco, he's only rostered in 3.7% of leagues. 3.7. That means go get your ass up and go get. We have talked about it plenty of times in the offseason. Be a waiver wire warrior. You need to be up look scanning through that shit of how you can get better each week. Injuries gonna start
Mhm.
piling up, things are gonna start happening. If you're not looking at the waiver wire, you're doing dynasty wrong. Even a redraft. You're doing in redraft, I know Jawan Johnson's up. Harold Fannin is very much on your waiver wire right now in redraft. Go pick his ass up. Dynasty, probably not. I will say 99% chance he's not. But the overall tight ends, even Dalton Kincaid came out to play. And I was telling y'all not to play him. I'm sorry if I cost you some muffin, some bread off of that. I didn't mean to do you bad, but I didn't see it coming. If
It
I'm
might be
being
the
honest.
last thing he does all season.
That probably was his best game. Sam Laporta jumped back up into good graces with 9 targets, 6 catches, 79 receiving yards with 14.8. He actually had 13.9 fantasy points.
What about my
Harold
guy Kyle Pitts?
Kyle Pitts back up and going. Tight end seven
They
with
thought it was tight end day out there. Everybody's doing
12.9.
something.
12.9. 12.9 fantasy points. Are we back? Is the tight end position back? Can we speak about Harold Fannin Jr. getting 9 targets over David Njoku? Can we talk about that more, Rocco? I'm gonna let you talk
I
about
mean,
Harold Fannin Jr. real quick, my G.
my hot take when we had Chev on the show, or was it Chev? It might have been Mike. I think the cold takes was Chev. But we had Dynasty Dog Mike on the episode, and my hot take was by the end of the season, Harold Fannin Jr. would be the tight end one on that team. And I got some crazy looks. I got some crazy comments when I posted the vids. And let me tell you, it might have already happened in week fucking one.
Take
It
your victory
definitely
lap.
helped. It definitely happened on a production basis. I know I read into some things where Njoku ran more routes and he was out there a little bit more, but Harold Fannin Jr. bottom line put up more stats, put up more numbers, put up more fantasy points, and that's what we play for. And I think it's only going to go up from there because Harold Fannin Jr. may be, wait for it, he may be the best pass catcher on that whole team because Jerry Judy is terrible. Like I don't care what anybody says, he's fucking terrible. He didn't do anything all game. He got a couple catches late to make his day look decent. He's terrible.
And he dropped a few.
Tillman
He dropped
Tillman
a
is the
couple.
wide Tillman is the wide receiver one there. He's the alpha, but I think Harold Fannin might be a better pass catcher than even him. So if that team's smart, I would have Njoku and Harold Fannin Jr. out there at the same time. I think they complement each other, and I think that offense will perform a lot better with that. And he had one route; it was so fucking smooth. He's like going out and he's going this way, going that way, and then he like turns on a dime and goes the other way and fucking just juke the defender out their fucking shoes, and they didn't even know where the fuck he was at. He might be the fastest guy, but he's got some really good feet. He's got some really good moves to get open, and that guy is a future star at the tight end position.
You remember when people were killing him for his 40-yard time? Good times. Good
Don't fucking
times.
matter. I mean, it does matter for tight ends, but that guy is just different. Like the way he runs his route, the way he gets open on routes, he's just so deceptive, and he's so quick in his movements. Once he gets in a route, he might not have that top end speed running downhill, but football is generally not played in 40 times. It's what can you do in your route to get open.
Yeah, and right now he is 2.8% rostered in leagues redraft wise. Now dynasty, you're not going to catch this man on no goddamn
I got
waivers
him everywhere. You ain't getting him. He's
everywhere,
on all my
especially if
teams.
I'm in
So
your league. That motherfucker.
if I don't have him, Huncho got him.
And but redraft, I was actually in. I was going through my redraft. I was actually going through my ESPN league because I have one for work, and I also have another one for work in Yahoo. Harold Fannin is on the waiver wire. Go get him. If you play those platforms, he's there. Go get him, please. It's easy money at this point. If you're not, once again, if you're not on the waivers, you're doing yourself a disservice. And then another guy surprised that jumped into top 10, Noah Fant for the Cincinnati Bengals over Mike Gesicki at that. With four catches out for four targets, 25 receiving yards, and one touchdown, 12.6 fantasy points, finishing right above George Kittle, heartbreaker that he's going to be missing the next 4 weeks on IR. But I didn't have Noah Fant on my bingo card as a top 10 week one finish either. So
Hmm.
I think we're getting surprised by a lot of guys. Zach Ertz, Mr. Father Time, still out there whooping ass and giving you some good solid points. And then even Hunter Henry, 10.6. Guys, if you can get a double digit points from a tight end,
Hmm.
that's okay for me. I can get in the non tight end premium league, I can work with that. All right. And then the tight end premium, it gets even more sexier then. But my buys right now for the tight end position, 100% Harold Fannin Jr. And you're probably not going to be able to, unless you're selling, you're going to be overpaying at this point. Especially if you try to come, if it's me, you're not, yeah, you're going to have to pry that motherfucker off my team. I promise you that. I promise you that. Another buy would be Tyler Warren, and I remember the discourse. A lot of people going Colston Loveland in the process over Tyler Warren. I was blue in my face until I couldn't be more blue in my face. Tight end, saying Tyler Warren was the tight end one, and he was in a better opportunity just because of the mouths that are have to be fed in Chicago. I'm glad to be on the right side of history with Tyler
Hmm.
Warren. Now I got to see where the rest of the season goes. But he looked good, and he looked good early for Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Um, yeah. He looked real good, and he showed out pretty quickly. Yeah, I think my buys. We Yeah, I'm a little different
Mm,
from you. I think I'm still buying David and Joku. I think they're gonna play a lot of 12 personnel, and I think that's their best base set. So, while I do love Harold Fannon's almost like a receiver out there. He's just so good. You know what he can do. You
mm.
know, and getting open. So I think David Njoku he had a slow game, but I think he's going to be cheap because everybody, you know, including ourselves, we're like, you know, he's just nuked now that Harold Fannins blew up in the first week. Not so fast. I think he's still going to have a really good season. And at the end of the year, if it's not Cedric Tillman, those two may be the two of the leading receivers, on an entire team. Who else did I like as a buy? I'm still in on Tucker Kraft. He had a nice touchdown early in that game, and that game kind of got away from Detroit early. Like uh, the Packers basically ran away with that one, so he got kind of lost in the sauce. But I think he's going to still have a big role on that team. And they threw it that touchdown was a little bit more downfield than he got for the most of last year which was a lot of short passes where he would just make people miss in the open field.
Mhm.
So if he can add some stuff that's more at least in the intermediate area, if not downfield, in addition to what he can do, catching those short passes and being one of the best missed force tackle tight ends in the league, then yeah, I'm buying. He had a touchdown, so he you might not get him as cheap as you want to, but I think he's a definite guy you should be targeting. And TJ Hawkinson had a slow game, but I still think that you know take advantage of people pissed that he didn't do anything for him in week one, and sneak him onto your team because I think he's still the second target until Addison comes back.
And let's end it on the receivers. Who? When I went back and looked at the top five, shit, or the top three. Yeah, once again, if you had this on your bingo card, you're a fucking liar. Zay Flowers finishes week one as wide receiver one against the Buffalo Bills. 28.1 fantasy points, 9 targets, 7 catches, 143 receiving yards, and 1 tutty. That man was all over the field, and I might go on a limb of saying that we're seeing him take that next jump of what we wanted to see last year. Now he has to do it
Third year
consistently.
breakout.
Yeah, he has to do it consistently.
It's a real
But
thing.
I liked what we saw from Zay Flowers. Wide receiver two of week one, Keon Coleman, baby. Another victory lap for your boy, who I was literally acquiring for seconds, even a third in some places. A
I got him
third.
for I got him for Jalen Warren straight up.
See, my point. Hold up, fuck. You know what I'm saying? So my point exactly. Like you got yourself a
He
wide
said that one
receiver
to me.
in week one. 25.2 fantasy points, 11 targets, 8 catches, 112 yards, 1 tutty. And it looked like Josh Allen very much trusted him towards the end of that game, kept going to him, and he was making Jair Alexander look like the little baby on that field. I had said this multiple times. When he came into the league, he was one of the youngest wide receivers ever. 20 years old. He did his thing, and he should keep continuing to be decent. I think where Josh Allen's going to trust him in the red zone, and he's going to keep adding. I think he just needs to keep stacking games, stacking the days. He'll eventually get there. And then, with the overall offense, I'm excited for Keon. There are people talking about separation, this separation, man. Fuck on separation. I get it. We like guys that separate, but that's not the only way to win or to be a decent wide receiver. There's some guys that separate very great, and there's other guys that just win. They just when you put the ball in their hands, they go out. When they needed the ball in crunch time, that boy Keon came up. So that's all I really care about. Yes, there is a place for analytics, but then you also got to throw film in there. And on film, Keon Coleman put together a good week one. Wide receiver three, once again, not on a bingo card. Quentin Johnson.
And you have my cell candidate. So
24.9 fantasy points, 7 targets, 5 catches, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I think one positive I will say about Quentin Johnson is that it looks like he played a little bit better to his size. I always felt he didn't use his size to his advantage. He was very much a body catcher, and he drops passes. He did drop a pass in the game, but
mhm.
no, I'm I'm not getting too high on Quentin Johnson. I was very much still low. I'm still low. I'm not buying him. I feel like there's somebody, and I always find it funny when these guys have pretty good pretty good games. How quickly people throw them on the trade block. I find that shit fucking hilarious. But he was wide receiver three, wide receiver four, Amiko Abuka, who I said for the 2025 wide receiver class had the highest floor out of all of them. was 23.6 fantasy points, 6 targets, 4 catches, 67 yards, 2 tutties, and the game winner to be exact.
The number one wide receiver in Tampa Bay already.
He is showing
Already.
he is showing his value. And Chris, even with Chris Godwin back, who is aiming at a week 5 return, it's going to be Mike Evans, Amika Ibuka, and the third option might just have to go to Chris Godwin at this point. There's no and there's a lot of people that were down. They're like, "Oh, Mika's only a slot guy." He won the game winner on the outside. That's where the touchdown came from. Ran a post on his ass, and he looked good doing it. I like me a Mika, and to think that some guys actually got him in the early second that he was falling there. Crack, methamphetamines. This episode is brought to you by methamphetamines. Okay, that's what people was on.
Trust.
Drugs. Robert,
Drugs are back in a major way.
and before I speak further on the guys that I like, can you speak about Mika Ibuka and just what you saw from him against the Falcons and how you feel about Mika going forward?
Uh, actually, I think my feelings about Amika Ibuka on the Bucks has been well known. I remember our draft party. Well, not our draft party, but our friends in the Discord's draft party.
Hmm.
Um, when Amika Ibuka got drafted, there was a lot of sad reactions. A lot of people said, "Oh man, that's a terrible spot for Amika. Oh my goodness, how will he ever break out with
Hmm.
Chris Godwin and Mike Evans?" I'm like, those dudes are fucking old. Chris Godwin fucking twisted his leg all the way around like the fucking exorcist. He ain't coming back anytime soon. And he's getting older too.
Hmm.
Jalen McMillan, that dude's not stopping anybody from doing anything, not let alone a first round drafted pick.
Yeah.
He's he after Mike Evans, he's the highest drafted guy on that team in the wide receiver room. And I mean, he broke out in week one. My hot take was that he was going to be the wide receiver one by the end of the season. He might be the wide receiver one right now. He might not have had as many targets, quite as many targets as Mike Evans, but he had the big targets, and he's the one that scored the points, for the Bucks. So I'm not saying he's going to do that every week. I think he's going to settle in as a target monster, um, but I mean that guy is going to have a huge year. So I'm just excited that he, put it on tape in week one, and now, you know, you're not going to get him. I mean, he looks like, those guys that break out in week one. Those guys are fucking hard to acquire because most of these rookies don't just come out the gates kicking ass, and to do what he did in week one, man,
The
that
game
makes me
winner.
feel good.
And it also shows the trust Baker has him and already as a rookie.
Hmm.
And that's only going to continue as the year goes on if health stays where it needs to be. It's up for Amika Ibuka. And honestly, once again, if you got him in that second round, you're looking like a genius. Hell, if you got him in that late first, you're looking like a fucking genius right now. From other guys that you were able to select, like Matthew Golden. And I was very loud on Amika Buka was my wide receiver too, pre and post draft. Uh, I'd liked him. I still love him as a prospect. And like I said, he had one of the highest floors or the highest floor of the wide receiver class. Looking at some other guys, and I'm going into this is almost my buy list as well. There were so many people that were down on Garrett Wilson, and we was having this discussion in, I believe, Dynasty Degens Discord, where people were talking about, "Oh, I had Garrett Wilson on my bench. Are you methamphetamines again?" Like we, and it was funny because our boy Nerd was like, I could tell y'all haven't been watching my episodes because I've been telling y'all all day, all week, all season that Garrett Wilson is the buy. He is. You need to be starting Garrett Wilson. He finished as wide receiver, if I'm looking at my spot correct, wide receiver seven with 22.5 fantasy points, nine targets, seven catches, 95 yards, and one touchdown. That was a beautiful game by him. It would have been even better, but he got laid the fuck out by Jalen Ramsey, which lost him the game towards the end. What is your overall view on Garrett Wilson going forward, and what did you like from week one?
I mean, Garrett Wilson's going to be a target monster.
You was
Um,
you was like you did say you was yeah. I think at this point we should have a shirt that says "Follow the targets," and that's was your main thing with Garrett Wilson, the targets. He
mhm.
is the wide receiver one. Who else are they going to throw to?
There's nobody. I mean, the only other guy that the only other guy that's a legit NFL not wide receiver, but a legit NFL pass catcher on that team is Brees Hall, and he's a running back. So um, Garrett Wilson had 9 targets in week one, and I think he's going to settle in there. 9 targets, between 9 and 12, maybe even 15 targets. And I had him and possibly Drake London leading the league in targets. Well, I mean, Drake London has, I think he has a collarbone issue. So
Order.
Garrett Wilson is the leader in my brain clubhouse to be, the leader in targets on the season. I mean, who else is gonna, catch the ball there?
Yeah, man. I that had that once a victory lap. I felt really good about that. And there's a couple leagues I have Garrett Wilson as my wide receiver three, which is kind of crazy to say.
Hmm.
So, and if you don't know, if this is one of your first times actually hearing me speak, I am very pro or hero wide receiver strategy. I like to have a very strong wide receiver core and a strong or QB and wide receiver combos. I like to have. I will some leagues switch it up and keep my running back somewhere in the middle. So it's not It's not a terrible room. It's not the best room, but it's not going to be the most worst, the worst either. So Garrett Wilson was always the play for me. Some other guys I'm looking at the receivers. Debo Samuels finished as wide receiver six against the New York Giants. 22 point.
So,
Oh, I mean, also yeah. I mean, I tried to,
so,
and someone said no, but I also tried to
so,
buy Debo Samuels for a second. They told me to
so.
go to hell. They told me to go to
Tell,
hell.
tell them to rot in hell with their Debo share. He ain't
They
win no
told me to go
shit.
to hell. Yeah, I tried to do the second, man. They wasn't going
They,
with it.
they were they were running him like they did in San Francisco, and that's what fucking beat his ass up. Those running plays. He's so good at it, but he was banged up for like the last couple 2-3 years because they refused to stop running him so much, and they were running him on the same type of plays in Washington. So
Yeah,
um,
he only had one.
I he only had one, really.
He only had
And
one rush.
that was the big one, though.
And that was the touchdown that he had on the ground. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, I stand corrected.
he had 10 targets, seven catches, 78 receiving yards, one rush, 19 yards, and one TD.
Okay, I stand corrected. Um, uh,
But
I I
I
don't
like
know.
it.
He was just recently washed, so
Yeah, it's
I'm
like
gonna.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
hard for me. It's hard for me to get back in on a guy that was recently washed. We have to remember uh, last year. I forgot what I saw it somewhere. I can't remember the three guys, but one of the guys in the top three for receiving last year was Cooper Cup, and he is fucking. He's
Washed.
so washed.
Yeah, he's washed.
So week one grain of salt here.
And then my last buy, or who I would like to talk about, and even though it wasn't the crazy of outings, it showed me what I wanted to see from him, and I think he'll get even more burned as the year goes on. But that's Troy Franklin. He finished wide receiver 48. I know, not sexy, but better than what he typically was finishing last year. And he had 8.4 fantasy points, 6 targets, 4 catches, and 44 yards. The overall passing offense for the Denver Broncos just wasn't there. And Cameron Sutton had a few plays where, and a touchdown where he went up to get it. But
Hmm.
Bo Nix was very much struggling against the Titans' passing defense through a pair of interceptions. Um, I'm not going to, beat him up too much on it. It happens. The one thing about the Tennessee Titans that we, I don't, you tell me if you agree, Rocco. I felt like their defense was their calling card. If the offense didn't do what it needed to do, at least they can try to hold on the defensive side, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, I think I would agree on that. Yeah.
So I'm not low on Bo or going to, put too much stock into that performance. Shit, it happens. It's only year two. They're still going to try to iron things out. My sell list, though, ha ha ha. Here we go. Any motherfucking Miami receiver, throw their ass on this goddamn list. That means waddle your ass down the lane. Tyreek Hill was already ready to crash out throughout the motherfucking game. He was seen having some type of conversation, and he said he wants to win. Another sell, and this might be a little bit too early, but Calvin Ridley, I didn't like what I saw. I will have to say that
He
the
got
Denver
certained.
yeah, I would say that, and that's the number one thing. The Denver Broncos do have a really good passing defense. So, and that's why I wanted. That's why I wanted to label as like he is sort of a sell for me, but I feel like it might be just a little bit early, just because of the defense that he was going against, and then two other guys, Juwan Jennings. I finally got your ass correct. I know I was messing Juwan Jennings up all episode, but Juwan Jennings, it looks like he did get banged up in the game, but it looks like with a shoulder, but looking like day to day. So it could be up for week two, but I don't like him in week two because it looked like Brock Purdy could potentially miss the game.
Hmm.
So, and then Cooper Cup, as we said, washed. It did not look good from the Seattle Seahawks overall. Sam Darnold did not look good, except for Jackson Ajibba. He looked like the guy that we know of, but Cooper Cup, yeah, it might be time to hang it up, brother.
How about Ricky Pearsall?
Ricky
Pearsall
Pearsall, Pearsall.
Pearsall with 108 yards.
Take your
Wow.
victory lap. Take your
Marvin
victory lap.
Harrison Jr. only had 71 yards against a busted Saints defense.
And hold on. You can't do that because Kyler Murray missed a 98-yard touchdown to Marvin Harrison Jr. So he
Yeah, I mean that always happens. Like that ain't nothing new.
so he would have
That's the reason. That's part of the reason for the fade.
like
I
so
mean that doesn't help his case.
Marvin Harrison could have had a more productive day, but
There's a lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas with Marvin Harrison's profile.
he could have had a more
I want
productive
to
day.
see. I want to see the numbers. I want to see them happen. I don't want to
But,
talk about he could have had plenty of plays, but it just ain't happened.
and then did you have any more cells or actually that was your buy? So how about your cells?
Oh man, Sell, get the fuck out of here with this Quentin Johnson bullshit. I've seen him be terrible, and he'll never be the one there. And it's just a matter of time before Trey Harris gets on board, and he's the solid number two. And that's not going to be the game script every week. They played a very good Chiefs defense
Mhm.
against the run in Brazil, so that's what led to the passing attack. And they have a very good passing attack, but I still feel like if they can like bully ball teams with the run, they will. So I think that was a little bit different script than they'll get every week. So if you can sell Quentin Johnson off of that performance, do so. I think you'll be disappointed more often than not with him.
Yeah. And a fun game before we head out of here. And thank you to everybody that taps in with us. This is season 2 of Fourth and Fantasy. God damn it! And it's been a very interesting way to start it out. Rocco, before we go into the nitty gritty or to the ending of the show, I have questions for you for next week, for this upcoming week. I'm gonna ask you who finishes as the number one player of that respective group. So who's going to be QB1 of week 2? Who will be RB1 of week 2? Who will be wide receiver 1 of week 2? Who will be tight end 1 of week 2? So, in your opinion, who could you see being the QB1 of week 2?
Mm, it's always gonna be Lamar Jackson.
How
That's
about how about RB1?
RB1. Let me see. I'm just looking at the matchups right now. Give me give me Jonathan Taylor.
Wide receiver 1.
I think we get a bounce back from Jamar Chase.
Okay, okay. And there was a lot of people. He did fuck a lot of people over in week 1.
Oh
But
man, let me tell you, this fucking team that lost by 40. It's fucking wild. This team I got. Yeah, I think it's one of the. I'm pretty sure it's a league you run. DFB the show.
oh yes,
I
yes.
got Dak Prescott, Jonathan Taylor, Tony Pollard, Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas, Mark
Oh my
Andrews,
goodness.
Bucky Irving. Who did I just trade? Derrick Henry,
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft, and Bo Nix, and I lost by 40 fucking points. It was nothing but duds there.
Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. and Jamar Chase did not. They picked a weird week for both to lay an egg.
Yeah, so I had to bring in Justin Jefferson to help those guys out.
Yeah, he said I can't have this bullshit again. Let me. Yeah, he said. Rockover said I need to make a move today.
Man,
He
I'm
made.
trying to just
Hey,
I'm just
to the
trying to make
viewers,
the dumbest team I can.
yo, Rocco literally made that trade like at like 9 or 10 o'clock this morning. He was not on games. And that's going to push me to my next question for you as we're wrapping up. Lead into week 2. What is some advice that you have to the viewers going up? What should they be doing? The season is very early. What is your main advice going into week 2?
Man, as a guy that's in a lot of leagues, the biggest advice is just to like always always work the waivers, because you just don't know. Like there may be like a gem out there, that you didn't even kind of realize that was still on waivers. Um,
Yep.
like guys like like a Jawan Johnson,
Sean
like
Booty. I got him today.
Kayshawn Booty's out there in places. LaQuint Allen, who is an interesting player. Just
Mm,
guys just sitting on waivers because they're you look on the trending, and like a lot of these guys are taken, especially in deep leagues.
mhm.
But another thing you can do is just kind of look and see who scored in week one. That's another thing you can do. Just kind of see who put up points in week one, because that can kind of give you an idea if they have a role, and it can kind of uncover guys that maybe weren't even caught in the trending section. So that's a couple things I do. Um, make sure that you know find your leagues where you got injuries,
Mhm.
and stash those guys on IR. If you got Kittle, put him on IR. Maybe make a move for that Tongues guy. He seems to be, you
Yeah.
know, on every waiver wire. I have no
Drugs.
idea who to.
Somebody paid $73 in our league today. Drugs for tongues.
Yeah, I think I'm putting like, maybe 11 to 15 on it, just because in leagues where I don't have a tight end.
Hmm.
Just because he could be you could be the tight end one there for 4 weeks because Kittle just went on IR. But
Correct.
figure out who went on IR and get or out. Depending on your league setting, some leagues can only put guys on IR in the IR spot. Some could put out guys, but go to each of your leagues and just tap if you're in sleeper, tap on that IR button, and it'll show you who's available to go in IR. But don't fuck up and put a taxi guy on IR if you can't move him back on the taxi because you'll lose that taxi spot. But that's a tip for mine and for me, and that'll save you from having to drop a guy when you work the waivers. It'll give you that free spot um, at least until Wednesday, because I find that on Wednesday, guys that were out will get reclassified as questionable, and then your lineup will lock again. So, there's a couple of tips that I look for, you know, each weekly, and I'm always looking to create space so I can pick up interesting players off the waivers, and if they don't hit, you just cut them.
And my piece of advice to you is chill the fuck out, bro. Right? It's not don't start panicking. It's okay. We all take it. We all can't win them all, right? You most likely wasn't gonna go undefeated. If you were, shout out to you. But it's okay. It's all right. Week one, you took an L. Week two, bounce back. If you take an L in week two, well then, brother, I mean, you might start having to. You know what I'm saying, shit, you might just be not be your season, cut. Say, we're gonna start. Well, you just have to. What's all I'm saying? Figure out what the hell you want to do in 2026.
And on the flip side, find those people that are panicking and take advantage of them,
Correct.
because I'm pretty sure that's how I got Justin Jefferson. I'm just sitting there last night, and all of a sudden, boop, Justin Jefferson's on the block. So I hit up our guy Omar, and I'm like, "What you looking for?" And I sent them. I think I sent them a pretty strong offer. I sent them like Tucker Craft. Um, I want to say a good like wide receiver too, and Jackson Dart, who I knew he liked before because he'd come after Dart, but we just haven't, we haven't been able to, make that happen. And then he sent me the trade that we wound up taking, and I also offered him a first, on top of, I think it was three players that could probably start for him or be really good depth pieces for him.
Hmm.
Um, so I made that offer, and he countered with the one I accepted, which was Justin Jefferson and a fourth for Dart, Strange, and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was in the original deal.
Hmm.
Dart, Strange, and Derrick Henry in a second. So I didn't even have to give up my first in that deal. So I was like, I'm seeing this right? He's
Yeah.
offered me Jets for those guys.
Yeah. Look.
So I, I was like, something's missing here. Like, is this the real offer? So I started putting it in the Discord, um, just to make sure that, because it was late, I was make sure I didn't have like boogers in my eye or something. I was seeing this shit wrong. Like, am I missing something? I mean, I love Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry probably makes me the favorite in that league. But he's 31 years old, and Justin Jefferson's like 26, and a wide receiver, which is generally a more valuable position. So the first guy was like, yeah, that guy fucked up or something like that. So I smashed it. Then everybody else was like, victory lapping it for me. So yeah, find those people that are panicking, because I saw he put him up for trade when that team was struggling in the first half. So, he was thinking, at least from my opinion, I think his mindset was JJ McCarthy is not going to be able to get the ball to Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, star is going down, and they're going to be a conservative team. They're going to have trouble scoring. Well, it's the first half of game one. And obviously, what we saw in the second half when that guy blew up for 3 touchdowns and basically, beat the Bears and, had a fucking awakening and let everybody in America know he is that fucking guy, including my guy Ben McCown, who kind of faded him, even though he's a Michigan grad. And I had him capitulate on Twitter today, which was kind of funny. He said basically he didn't want to seem like a homer, and he wanted to try to give that balanced take on him. But even he's on board now. He's like, yeah, he's the fucking man. So yeah. Sorry, my guy, you fucked up because Justin Jefferson is going to be the same guy he's always been, no matter who's out there. He fucking had an amazing season with the fucking dick hammer. So yeah, JJ McCarthy is going to fucking feed him, and he's going to look good doing it. So thank you for Justin Jefferson. Thank you for your panic sell. And yes, don't do that.
And that is our episode for today. Wrapping up week one, which was a joy to watch. We was all waiting for real football to be back, and very much did not disappoint, especially with the Baltimore and Bills game. This episode has been brought to you by Fast Draft, the fastest best ball platform out there, where we or they, mind you, will try to put money in your pocket, 250,000 plus cash prizes to be exact, by using fourth. They will double your first deposit up to $50. I repeat, using either one of those codes right there, fourth, they will double your first deposit up to $50. Get your ass into the game and lock in. The time is now. Go draft. If you buck with us, thank you for tapping in with us. Subscribe, share, like, comment. We will be going earlier times on Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern. The Breakfast
Mhm.
Club edition.
Breakfast Club.
We hope to see you there, man. Join our free Discord. Follow us on Twitter. Hit us up on TikTok. We're now over 300 plus. We're over 1,700 subscribers on YouTube. We're growing. Thank you, everybody, for tapping in with us. Rocco, do you have anything for the audience before we head up out of here?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to kind of let everybody know how my week one went. 15-12 on teams that are competitive. 0-4 in rebuilders, so that's a good thing. And 4-0 in my $100 league. So that's the ones that I want to win. But anyway, we are a fantasy football podcast for Dynasty Sickos by Dynasty Sickos, but everybody is welcome.
And we're your fantasy playbook. Two more championship wins, baby. Let's keep it going. Let's keep going at it because there's championships to win. I'm Honcho, and this is my guy.
Siriaco, call me Rocco.
This has been Fourth and Fantasy. Y'all have a wonderful night. Till next time.